Okay, so welcome to this last revision lesson on the USA paper, which is now just under a week away. The aims of this lesson are to first of all remind you of the structure and the timings of the exam, and we'll be covering that first, but also to give you some ideas about how you can revise key content. Now, one of the reasons why lots of students like this exam is because the main emphasis for this paper is actually on how students analyse the sources. And so while you do definitely need to have some own knowledge about the key topics, actually the majority of marks up for grabs are about how you work with the sources, and so it sort of takes the pressure off a little bit in terms of revising the content. The second part of the session will be going over do's and don'ts for all of the 5 questions on the paper, and then I'll be talking you through some different types of answers and giving you the opportunity to share what you would have given the answer and why before I reveal what the answer actually got. So the basics about this exam before we move any further, just in the same way as the other 2 exams, this paper goes on for 1 hour and 15 minutes, which isn't long at all. You have to answer 5 questions. Now, as I just said, the majority of the marks available are for the quality of your source analysis, but you do need some own knowledge. With this paper, you must start from the front. So I know some of you in the Nazi Germany exam and in the Cold War paper started with the 12 mark and the 16 mark questions because you struggled with your timings. With this paper, you have to start from the beginning really and work your way through, because you build up your knowledge about each of the 6 sources as you go through. Just a word of warning, there are 6 sources on the paper. Sometimes in terms of the sources booklet, the last source, source F, can be found on the very last page of the booklet, and sometimes people don't actually look on that last page. So do make sure you look at the entire source booklet to make sure that you've seen all of the sources. Now, question 1 is the inference question, which you're all brilliant at by this stage. The only thing to bear in mind here is that unlike the Nazi Germany paper, this inference question is worth 6 marks, and they're looking for you to make 2 inferences. Now, you shouldn't spend longer than 5 minutes on that question. That's plenty of time. Question 2 is your purpose question, so it asks you why a source was created. It's worth 8 marks, and you shouldn't spend any more than 10 minutes. Question 3 is your cross-referencing question. This one's worth 10 marks, and you can spend 15 minutes on that. I think this question here, this cross-referencing question, is the most difficult question in the paper, and it's the one that tends to catch people out. In the past few years when I've been marking this exam, question 3 is the one that a lot of students struggle on, because they can ask you it in a variety of ways, and that's how they catch you out. So we will be doing quite a lot of work on this question. Question 4 is the utility question. It's worth 10 marks, and again you can spend 15 minutes. This is my favourite question on the paper because it's the one that it's, I think, the most easiest to get full marks on. And finally, you've got question 5, which is your hypothesis question, and they'll ask you how far the sources support a particular view. It's worth 16 marks, and there are a potential 4 extra marks up for grabs for your spelling, punctuation and grammar, and you must spend 25 minutes really writing that. Now, the timings here allow for 5 minutes at the end to proofread if you want to, but also bear in mind that where I'm saying, for example, question 3, you can spend 15 minutes on, you need to do your analysis of the source within that time as well. So although it seems like you've got a lot of time, actually, once you factor in the fact that you've got to analyse the sources as well, it does make it quite tight.